lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Look who do I have. I'm super excited to introduce you my guest tonight. It is Friday night. We're going to party on here on the Niner Sickness podcast. I got my boy, Bay Area Baller18. What's up, brother?
Beto, I'm excited to be here. You know, I've been a fan of yours for quite some time, following the channel, and I'm glad we finally get to link up and talk some ball.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro. I know we've been trying to link up, and the last time we were scheduled was my fault. I couldn't make it, and I kind of had to bail out at the last minute, but I had the guts to ask you again. I said, I'm going to ask the mighty baller if he's graced me with his time and forgive me for the first time and come on my show. So I am very grateful and honored to have you, brother. I've been watching you with my boy, doing the, what is it? The Bay, something in the Bay, back to the Bay or?
Yeah, straight out of the Bay. With my Monday crew. Yeah, Kelch, Jay in the Bay, and
Rich.
me. Those are my guys, the Monday show.
I see you with Larry Krueger doing your Warrior thing. Hey, my Lakers are lost the 2 games, but at least Boston is 0-2 as well. So I'm okay with that. I don't want Boston to go anywhere.
Yeah, me either. I'm with you there. We have that in common. I'm rooting for Miami. Jimmy Butler just pulled it out. Actually, I was watching that right up until we started this show, and yeah, Lakers, they outplayed my Warriors. I'm not a guy who makes excuses. They executed, they used their size to their advantage. So the Warriors, they got to look themselves in the mirror this offseason and figure out how they're going to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had you with size. I knew that the game against the Nuggets was going to be difficult, boss, and we'll get into football in a minute. But I know that it was going to be difficult because Denver has it all. It has size, wing, they can stretch the field, the court, and they're playing good. I mean, I honestly thought we had it last night, and going into the fourth quarter, we were dominated, and out of nowhere, man. I can't think of the kid that stepped up yesterday for the Nuggets.
Was it Jamal Murray?
Murray, yeah, that dude is like,
yeah,
dude, can somebody kidnap him? You know what I mean? He was on fire, bro. And I love basketball. I love football. People trip out on me though. Like when we lost the NFC Championship last year, people are like, I can't go on. I can't do no lives. I'm not going to be able to talk to nobody for a week. I'm like, I was over an hour after. And they're like, you're not a real fan. How can you be over it an hour after we lost? I said, it's over. What am I going to do? Be depressed and be upset that my team lost, didn't make it? When I was in my 20s, bro, I got arrested for a bar fight because my Niners lost. I don't know how old you are, but remember when the Niners were going to three-peat? They already had one in 88 and 89, and then they were playing the Giants, and I forgot what's the name, hit Roger Craig. He fumbled the ball, and Lawrence Taylor recovered. They went on and kicked the field goal. All we were trying to do is move the ball to kick a field goal. I lost it, bro. I lost it. Got in a fight at the bar. That was the last time I ever done that. Now, I enjoy football. I'm into it. I love basketball. But if the team doesn't win, I mean, I root for my team when they win. I'm fired up. But if they lose, I'm over it. What am I going to do? I don't know how you took the Warrior loss, but some people are like, they don't want to talk to me about the Warriors and Lakers. Some people don't want to talk to me about the Niners. After the Niners, I'm like, I get over it fast. I don't know. How do you handle defeat? Does it simmer in you for a while? Do you get pissed off, or do you just let it go?
I'll say it stings for a couple days. I'll give it a couple days. But, now with this whole new Twitter blue, you can post videos up to 2 hours long. Someone posted the whole 49ers Chiefs game, and I was looking, the Super Bowl. I was looking at the replies, and a lot of Niners fans like, oh no, I could never rewatch that. I mean, I've watched that game back at least 3 times since the loss. So I'm
Okay.
able to get over it, rewatch it. As soon as, like this year after the Niners lost to the Eagles, I give it a couple days, and then hey, it's off-season mode. Start looking at some prospects, getting familiarized with the college guys that are coming into the draft, and the free agents. So I move on rather quickly. I would say I think some Niners fans might let the losses linger a little longer, but a couple days and then I'm over it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way, bro. I really, I really just enjoy the wins and I take the losses and I can congratulate the winner. I don't have a problem telling the person that we lost to, hey, it depends on the individual too. It depends on the relationships. If somebody's being a jerk and an idiot, I'm not going to waste my time. But if somebody's cool and respectful, I'll sit there and text them, hey, bro, I suck that we lost, but congratulations and I wish you the best going forward. I don't have an issue with that. I love sports. I love to play it. I love to watch it. And you have to be a gracious loser to enjoy, to be a one that wants to win. Real quick, before we go forward, I just want to acknowledge John that came in. We got G9 Garage. Sean's in here. We got 49er Minded. We got Dawn in the house. We got my girl Jess, which is my co-host for the Niners Now podcast. We just got done doing a podcast on our channel there. So I'm pulling a double tonight. But I've been wanting to come on with you. I seen you on YouTube multiple times, bro. I watch you all the time. And I gotta say, I don't know if you do it constantly. Do you like it? What's up with and I started to do it. Okay. I started to imitate you on one thing. Holding a pen or a pencil in my fingers. What's up with that,
I got
bro?
my pen right here, Beto.
I'm watching you, bro. That pen is like famous to me. I'm being honest in a polite way. I'm like, I watch you do your talking with Larry Krueger. I thought you do your football, and you got that pen going. And I got to admit, I started to do it, but then I stopped. I said, no, I can't imitate. But I admire that of you, that pen. I picked that up. I picked it up, and it
Hey,
looked
Beto,
good. You look
got the
good on
green
it.
light. You got the green light to go for the pen, to hold the pen. I keep it here because a lot of, especially when I'm on with Kruger, we got 4 or 5 guys on there. So sometimes I want to jump in with a thought, but it's just not the right time so I got to jot it down. So
That's
sometimes
good,
I
bro.
gotta just write a little note to what I wanted to talk about. Otherwise, I'll forget it a couple minutes later, and the great point that I had, I'll lose. So I keep the pen handy to just jot a little note down if I need to bring up a point. And I'm also I know we're going to talk about some of these draft prospects that the Niners drafted. So I got some notes on those guys on my paper right here. So I just keep the pen handy, partially for the look, but partially to just to jot down some notes so I don't forget it.
It gives you character, bro. At least for me, I look at you and it's like, look, and not only that, but you back it up. You got to back up the pin. If you're going to hold a pin in your hand, you got to know your crap. You got to know what you're talking about. All right. That's why I don't know if I'm ready for the pin yet. I still got to get more knowledgeable. I can't, to get to where you're at, bro. But I give you credit because you know your stuff, bro. You know your football, you know your NBA, and you're fun to watch and fun to listen to. And sometimes when you watch people, sometimes some people are easy to listen to, easy to the ear. Some people are not. And you're very comforting to watch, bro. So you continue to do you. And I know your channel's growing, and you're awesome, bro. And I love your knowledge of football. With that, let's get into it, bro. Let's get into why we're here, to the meats and potatoes. OTAs start May 22nd, 23rd, May 25th, May 30th to 31, June 2nd, June 5 to 6, June 8, and mandatory minicamp June 13 to 15. Are you fired up, bro? Are you ready for another season? What is your how are you feeling about getting into this season and seeing all this talk about trade Sam, is Brock Purdy going to be ready to be laid to rest and actually see the pudding, the proof in the pudding, man? Are you ready for mini camp?
Absolutely, Beto. Now, you were asking about I'm 32. The last time the Niners won a Super Bowl, Beto, I was 4 years old, okay?
Okay.
So obviously I've experienced the two Super Bowl losses, right? The Ravens, the Chiefs, they stung. But, this year there's optimism. It feels like the Niners, doesn't feel like it, the Niners are Super Bowl contenders in my mind. So anytime you can look at your favorite team and say, hey, I think they got a just as good a chance as anybody to win a championship, then I think it feels good. So I'm excited that OTAs are around the corner because that means football's just one step away from being on the big screen and altering my Sundays, because Sundays I'm locked in NFL Red Zone, obviously the 49ers. So I can't wait for football season. It really makes my Sundays that much more enjoyable.
Doesn't it, bro? Doesn't it just fire? I don't know about you or anyone else watching in the chat. I'm a big kid, bro. And it comes, I'm 53. I've been blessed I've been to all the Super Bowls, watch them in person. So I got to watch all 5 Super Bowls in person and watched them. And I've been to all the 5 parades in San
All
Francisco.
5 Super Bowls.
All 5 Super Bowls.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's freaking big time, Beta.
Yeah,
I'm jealous.
I've been blessed. Something that unfortunately, I'm going to take that I can't pass that on to the kids. I'm taking it to the grave. But it's an experience that I'll never forget, bro. Being Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami for that Charger game, watching Steve Young do his thing, being in New Orleans, watching the Denver Broncos get destroyed, John Elway, by the San Francisco, being low. The closest one to me was Palo Alto when against Miami.
Yeah, Stanford. Stanford.
In the back door. Yeah, and then Detroit at the old. I forgot the name of their stadium. The old stadium. Our first Super Bowl ever. And then my first game that I've been watching Niners since way before Joe Montana and Bill Walsh was ever on the team. But my first game in person was the catch. When Dwight Clark caught the ball. I was at the opposite side of the candlestick, but I was there, bro, and people and myself went nuts. Talk about chaos, bro. The goalposts, the people were on the field jumping, and we finally beat those damn Cowboys, and we were heading to our first Super Bowl ever. And I'm telling you, the fan base was crazy. And I believe at that time I was, that was what, in 81?
81.
So I was 12 years old at the time. So I remember everything, from our first Super Bowl. And I'm telling you, bro, it's nothing like winning your first Super Bowl, being called a champion. This is why as an old vet of the Niners, I want the Niners to win one, because I want the young people that haven't experienced that, have the opportunity to really be proud. It's a sense of pride, bro. You put on your colors, you put on your red and gold, and you're like, yes, we're Super Bowl champions. It ain't nothing like, no feeling like no other feeling that. And this is why I want the Niners to win one for the young generation to experience. And this is why I think the young generations are so upset that we have come so close and just hasn't been able to cross over. So with that, I'm going to lead with this. If we had our quarterback resolved, if we had a Patrick Mahomes, if we had a Josh Allen or a Joe Burrows, since Kyle got here, how many Super Bowl how many Super Bowl wins you think we would already have with this roster?
Wow. At least two. At least two. I don't want to overdo it. I'm gonna say 3. Right around that 2-3 range is the number that pops up to me. I think we seal the deal against the Chiefs, and then the Niners defense has just been perennially awesome during Kyle Shanahan's tenure. So you're going to add a premium quarterback in the mix. I mean, you're winning at least 2 or 3 titles in that span.
Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I am with you. It's just that quarterback. Kyle has. I want to ask you your expertise on this. What's going on with the quarterbacks under Kyle? Why do we have? Does Kyle have the quarterback bug? It's like, how do you lose two damn quarterbacks in the NFC Championship? We lost last year. We lost Trey Lance week 2, so we had Jimmy G, right? We roll with Jimmy. We're winning games, and we kind of feeling good, and then we go into the Miami game and we lose him. I don't know about you at that particular moment, but anybody that tells me they had faith in Brock Purdy coming in at that moment, unless you follow him in college, you're nothing but a liar. You know what I mean? I don't know about you. I don't know who this kid was really. I knew of him, but not of him. When he came in and did what he did, it excited me. We moved. We went to the NFC again, but then we lose him. And then here comes, I don't want to mention his name because I don't think he's worthy of number 17. He comes in, he looks scared, and then he gets hurt. Why does it happen to us, bro?
Yeah. I know, Beto. I think you got to look at each injury at the quarterback position as its own separate entity. Let's say like Jimmy G, him getting his first ACL injury against the Chiefs, right? He could have went out of bounds a little bit earlier. I think he tried to get a first down or tried to get a couple extra yards, and that's when he got popped. ACL went out. Like, I have a hard time putting that on Kyle Shanahan.
Okay.
But then the other hand, the one where I do it might be the only one, unless you can think of another one. The only one I give Shanahan, I don't want to say credit or blame, I would say, is the Trey Lance one. Only because I thought Shanahan was running Trey Lance too much. Like, I get you want to utilize Trey Lance's skill set. He's a good runner, not a great runner, but he's a good runner. He's mobile. Like, you want to use kind of the QB power. You want to use it. But my thing, Beto, is use it strategically. Like, when I'm watching the Bills, I know it's Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's different than Trey Lance. But when the Bills utilize the QB run game, or even like the Eagles, it seems like there's more of a strategical advantage in those situations. They're using it down by the red zone, right? They're at the 6-yard line, 6 yards away from a touchdown, or it's 3rd and 2, and they're driving. It's like it feels like other teams were using their quarterbacks a little more strategically, whereas Kyle was like, you know what, he can run. Well, let's just run him. Just kind of running him for the heck of it. So that's the one injury where I would say, Kyle, I don't think you should have ran him in that situation. I want to say it was when Lance got hurt, it was like 2nd and 7, something like that. Like 2nd and 7, like, is that really the best call right there? So that one I'll put on Shanahan. But, if you want to look at Purdy's injury against the Eagles, like,
that was a fluke, man.
Croft just had to hold his block for a half a second more. Like, Reddick instantly beat him. So that, can you blame Shanahan for blocking a tight end on Hassan Reddick, who's a premier pass rusher? I guess you could, but I would probably put more of the blame on Croft. Like, tight ends are supposed to block. Like, you just had to hold it for a second and a half, and instead he held it for half a second. So, I'm not one of these guys who beats up Shanahan for the quarterback injuries. Even the Jimmy Garoppolo injury against the Miami Dolphins. That one, he's got 2 guys kind of grabbing him, and Jimmy, he's fighting to stay alive, which he just wants to make a play, but I can't blame that on Kyle Shanahan. So
that is right.
I chalk some up to unluckiness. It's unfortunate, but the one I will say is running Trey Lance kind of into the ground. That one, I'm kind of looking at Kyle like, really?
Yeah, it's tough, but I'm with you. A lot of Niner fans do like to blame, and I understand when you're upset and you're hurt because your player goes down, you want to put the blame somewhere, and the blame went to the head coach. But you're right. It's not. I don't blame Kyle at all. Kyle wants to win. Kyle's job is on the line. Why would he put his intentionally his quarterback to get hurt and lose? That's not what he wants to do. So I understand fan base get emotional, and I tell people, Get out of your feelings. Get out of your feelings because you can say a lot of dumb things when you're in your feelings and people blame them. Like the Trey Lance. We heard Kyle earlier say at the Dwight Clark thing that the finger never healed properly for Trey Lance. And it was affecting his accuracy, his throw, grabbing the ball. Could it be that they were running him a little bit more than usual because he wasn't able to throw the ball as much as Shanahan might have wanted him to do? And then plus, when he ran in down the middle, people were like, "Why is he running down the middle?" Did you know that that wasn't a I forgot the play that it was called, but he was supposed to run the outside. He chose to run in, and when he got hurt, it wasn't and it's a fluke, man. I mean, when you have 300-pound guys around you, and they fall in the wrong spot, you're going to get hurt. But the fact that we don't have a quarterback, quarterbacks are always getting hurt. We don't have a stable quarterback, but yet in the regime of Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, bro, we've been to what? Three NFC championships and a Super Bowl appearance?
Yeah.
When was the last time the Cowboys been to an NFC championship? Forget the Super Bowl.
I think it was like 95.
Yeah, 29 years ago. They haven't sniffed. Okay. And again, I understand you want to get beyond that. You want to win the Super Bowl, but people don't realize how hard it is to get to an NFC championship game. The Niners did it back to back. Starting the way they started slow. Dealing with the whole quarterback situation. In a year when you lose not one, not two, but three quarterbacks. I don't count the third one. You know what I mean? And yet you still make it. When you lose two quarterbacks and then you got to go with your third and you still make it to the NFC championship game on your rookie 7th round pick, the last pick of the draft, you cannot tell me that that's not good coaching from a coach like Kyle Shanahan. Now, Purdy had to execute, and he did well. But people to hate on Shanahan, I don't understand it, brother.
I know what you mean, Beto. Yeah, there were some fans or talking heads that want Shanahan fired. Like that never made sense to me. Like that, the team is perennially. It feels like they're contenders. Every year Shanahan's been here, other than obviously the first year where the roster was void of talent, it felt like the Niners have a chance to at least make the playoffs or to compete for a Super Bowl. It's like, I don't want to lose out on that. It's like not too long ago we had freaking Jim Tom Sula.
Come on,
and
brother,
Chip
preach
Kelly.
it.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. So Kyle Shanahan, he hasn't won the big game, and you can question, how he's fell short or some of his decisions that he's made in the Super Bowls, obviously with the Falcons and then against the Chiefs. I know a lot of Niners fans say, I should have ran the ball more. But, Beto, I've watched that game back. George Kittle's wide open multiple times in the fourth quarter. Garoppolo doesn't see him. We know about the missed pass to Emmanuel Sanders. Kyle was putting them in situations to win. It's just the execution wasn't quite there in some of the key moments. Kyle, I think he's a top 5 head coach in the NFL.
I agree, and I remember that. I watched them as well. I like to watch tape on games that we played, whether we won or lost, and the all 22 gives you a better perspective of what you might have missed in a regular game, and the emotion and the yelling, and you go back to the 22 and you do a breakdown, you get the better perspective of what and how the game went. And you're right, Debo was open, but Garoppolo did not see him for completions, and people right away, they don't see that and they want to blame Kyle. I understand that overthrown to Sanders, that was very evident, so everybody saw that. But the little things like Debo being open, now this is why I'm a big Trey Lance fan. I want him to be successful. I want him to come in this year and tear it up and never look back. But I'm also comfortable with Brock Purdy, his decision making, his ability to read the defense, to go to his progressions, okay, to make adjustments, to stand poised. in the pocket, not let things shake him. Yes, he lacks size. Yes, he lacks an arm. But what he has above his shoulders is very well. This kid can play, yes, very well. And so I want Trey to play. I want Trey to be the guy because I understand you get the best out of Trey and you get the best out of Brock. Trey is better because of his size and his arm, obviously. But don't you think that at least if Trey doesn't work out for whatever reason, at least we found a gem in the 7th round that we can hang our hat on and try to win a Super Bowl with?
Absolutely, Beto. I like Brock Purdy. Obviously, what he did as a rookie, and I hate the sentiment that I see mostly on Twitter that Brock, like, he is what he is. You know, he doesn't have this ceiling. He can't get better. Like, he was a rookie last year. He's played 8 games in the NFL. Bro. You don't think he can get better? Like, absolutely. I think Brock, as good as he was, Brock was good. But I see, and what I love, Beto, you pointed out some really good things that Purdy does well. Probably my favorite thing of Purdy is just his improvisation, right? I felt like that was not a strength of Jimmy. Like, Jimmy had to play within the script. Yep. And if things got off script, you know, he tried to do too much. Sometimes that's when I felt like a lot of his turnovers came when he was trying to do. But Purdy, he escapes the pocket, breaks the pocket, keeps his eyes downfield, spots the receiver, throws an accurate ball, you know, more often than not. I really like Brock Purdy, but, you know, I'm with you in the sense that, man, I want to see Trey. And with Brock's injury, I think it gives the Niners and Kyle kind of just, it gives them I don't want to call it an excuse, but it's like, I don't want to rush Brock Purdy back from this elbow injury, right? And I want to find out what we have in Trey Lance. Yeah. So it feels like, you know, the first 2, 3, 4 weeks would be the perfect time to give Trey Lance a shot. Let's see what this kid can do on the field. Let Brock Purdy rehab, get his elbow back to 100%. And, hey, guess what? If Trey comes on and lights the world on fire, he's slinging the ball all over the field, using his mobility, then maybe it's a question, hey, is this Trey Lance's job? But if he struggles, you know, and it's not looking good after, you know, 2 or 3 games and Brock's feeling good, Brock's like, hey, man, my elbow's feeling good, I'm ready to roll. Well, then you make the swap. And it's like, at least we got to see Trey and we know more than we know right now. Because right now, Beto, we know Lance, he's got the tools, he's got potential, but we don't know how good this kid can be. So, in my opinion, how I would start this year is let's give Trey a crack at it, you know, see what we got 2, 3 games. If it's not looking good, I feel like Brock Purdy is a good quarterback. I'm not going to call him great yet, but I think he's good. Like, I think he's a tick better than Jimmy Garoppolo already, and the kid was a rookie. Yep. So that's how I would play it. Now, I don't know how much Sammy D talk you want to have, but I've been diving into some Darnold film, Beto, just because, especially after what Mayoko said, you know, saying Darnold has the best thrower
arm,
the best thrower of the ball that he's seen in a Niners uniform. I was like, really, Matt? Because I have a lot of respect for Matt Mayoko. So I went back and I was watching some film. I watched some Darnold on the Jets, more so him the last couple of years with the Panthers. Let me tell you, Beto, like, if you're looking at just like the positive plays of Sam Darnold, it can make you think that he's a starting caliber quarterback. Just his plays, similar to Brock, he can escape the pocket. He's even more mobile than Brock. Like, Sam can run a little bit. He's got some arm strength. He's got the throw on the run ability. But what I'll say is, Beto, the lowlights, the interceptions, the fumbles, it's really bad. It's like, you know, Garoppolo had a lot of highs and lows, you know, with some head-scratching interceptions. Darnold is like that, even more to the extreme. Like, he can make better plays than what Jimmy does, but he can also make even more boneheaded, head-scratching plays that will really frustrate you if that's the quarterback of your football team.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. The ability's there. Sam Darnold can make some great plays. Like you see, he can maneuver out of the pocket, throw on the run. But unfortunately, that's the key word, bro. He makes bonehead mistakes at crucial times. And let me tell you how many times teams lose games because of turnovers. at vital time, like you're in the fourth quarter, you're trying to maintain your lead, you're only up 3 points, and you turn over the ball on your own 20 or your own 15. You can't do that. You can't do bonehead stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know if Sam Donald can, be resurrected in a sense with Kyle. But at the very best, he's going to be a backup in San Francisco. I don't know about you, bro. You've seen more film than I have. I just can't see him beating out Trey or Brock. I think if Brock is healthy, I would hope that Kyle's smart enough to kind of hesitate to start him, even if he's ready. Kind of watch what Trey can do against the Steelers. Start him in Pittsburgh against Watt over there and see how he can maneuver and we'll just see what he does. And then play him against Seattle. Listen, we have started 3-5 and then 2-4, I think the year before. And there was more competition in the NFC. This year we lost Brady. Aaron Rodgers went to the AFC. The Rams. They lost a lot of players, so the Buccaneers are not going to be the same. So you have Philly. So you have that. You don't want to lose games, obviously, but I think you have that leeway to give Trey an opportunity to see what he can do, and then you have Brock in the wings, right? Just waiting there in the wings, and if that plane goes down, you send the other one up into battle. And as long as you have Brock ready to go, I think Kyle will be confident to go with Trey. And if Trey's stinking it up, pull him out, put in Brock, and never look back. But if Trey does his thing, why not have? Can you imagine having Trey play at his best and having Brock sitting there just holding the clipboard ready to go and whenever he's called upon with this roster? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, that'd be a great situation. And they say, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. I've heard that old cliche. I disagree with it. If that was the case, and Trey's balling out, and we saw what Purdy did last year, that'd be a great thing. So,
yeah,
I mean, absolutely. I want to see Trey on the field. Let's see what this kid's got, because you traded all that capital to go get him. We still don't know what he is, Beto. Like, and let me know if you agree with this. I want to see Lance play like a half a game of all these preseason games. Like, he should be playing a half, getting all the reps he can. Don't run him for dear sake. Do not run him in the preseason.
No, see how he does with his accuracy
as a passer. And let me tell you, if they really are that hard-headed, like, hey, Brock's ready, he's our guy week 1, like, it's Brock, 100%. Well, even if he has a good preseason, I'll tell you what, that's going to boost his trade value. It will, because teams right now, I felt like they were kind of apprehensive during the draft or to really offer, a second-round pick or a first-round pick if that's what the Niners want. Because these teams are looking like, we don't know what Trey Lance is. So if he has a good preseason, guess what? That's going to boost his value. And if they're that hard-headed and Purdy is the guy, well, now at least Lance has boosted his trade value. Teams have seen him on the field. And now you might be able to get that second-round pick or a late one, whatever it is.
Yeah, you don't want to do what, and I know it's a little different, but you don't want to do what Tampa Bay did. It benefited us back in the day when they traded Steve Young from Tampa Bay to the Niners. Look what they gave up on. They weren't patient with Steve Young, and Steve Young, Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, am I going to say Trey's that? No, but all I'm saying is, I don't know. I can live with trying to give Trey the best opportunity and him failing and moving on from him, than moving on from him and he goes to another team and just starts ripping it up over there. You know what I mean? I even if Brock is good, I don't care if he's tearing it up. And so you don't want, and this whole thing, Bay Area Baller, is fans, let's trade him. He needs to be traded. And like you said a minute ago, what is his trade value? What's his trade value? He only played 4 games, 2 games. The one last year the year before against Houston, and the Chicago game. And then a couple sprinkles here and there with other games. People haven't seen enough of him. He hasn't played a lot in college. Why are people going to be giving? People don't give high draft picks on potential, especially after they've already been drafted. You do that from college, as we did. But once he's on a team and hasn't done much, people are not going to give up all these. And you're not going to give them away for what, a fourth or a fifth? You don't give up three.
That'd be stupid. That'd be stupid
you
because
don't
if
give
they
up
did
threes.
that, Beto, if they pulled the Steve Young like the Bucks did, and they traded him away and he turns into a stud, that's a fireable offense. Like
Yep.
someone needs to be fired if that happened. They traded Trey Lance and he lights it up. John Lynch, adios, you're gone. Kyle Shanahan, one of them's got to go because you gave up all this draft capital. You like this kid. Obviously, you drafted him with the third pick, and for you to trade him away for pennies on the dollar, and then he turns out to be a stud, like that's worst case scenario. Somebody's getting fired.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to the draft picks that these rookies, bro. We got 9 rookies that we drafted. This is not even talking about the undrafted rookies, but the 9 rookies that we drafted. Okay. Which one are you like excited to watch and do his thing, man?
Man, I can only pick one, Beto. That's tough.
You can pick more than one, but who's your number one?
Okay, you know what? I'll give you my number one, and I don't think you're expecting it because it's a 7th rounder. I'm looking at Braden Willis, the tight end from Oklahoma. Beto, the tight end position was one that I scouted really well going into the draft. Like when we picked Latu, got to be honest, I wasn't loving it. Since he just didn't wow me when I watched the film. Like, talking Latu, he's a capable blocker. Like, he's a nifty route runner. But I just didn't see anything that really popped out and really wowed me and made me. Braden Willis, on the other hand, Beto, when I watched Braden Willis play, he's not the biggest tight end, 6'3", 240 or whatever he is. But this guy gives you everything in his body on every snap. In terms of blocking, he gives you everything he's got on every play. He doesn't take a play off, Beto. He loves to be physical. He loves to block. That's why when I had heard, some rumblings like, hey, not only is he a tight end, but he could be kind of like a use check backup or replacement in the future. Yes, it makes sense because Braden Willis is just so damn tough. He's a great blocker. And the other thing is he's tough after the catch. If you're going to tackle Braden Willis, you better bring your hard hat. You better wrap up tight. Like, you better give everything you got to bring down Braden Willis. Otherwise, you're falling off of him, and he's running for yak yards. So, Braden Willis, that was the guy I was really happy the Niners drafted because I liked him, what I saw in the tape pre-draft. And then kind of after, since they've picked him, I've watched a couple more games, and it's just like, man, I love Braden Willis. The Niners gave him the gold helmet.
Yeah.
And so Braden Willis, that's probably, like, if you were to say, hey, Baller, only one of these tight ends we drafted can make the team this year for whatever reason. Now, hopefully they both make it. But if you were going to ask me, I'm like, take Braden Willis. I know what this guy can do. He plays with heart and with passion, and it's evident when you're watching him on the field. So Braden Willis is my guy. But how about you? Well, who's your guy in this draft class, Beto?
And I'm going to tell you in a minute, but do me a favor. For those that don't know, break down what giving a player the gold helmet means. Brown got it, and Willis got it. What is the representation of getting that gold helmet? So for those that don't know.
Yeah. Now, I don't know exactly the Niners formula, but from what I understand, they got to be really good on the field. They got to be, clean off the field, right? Not getting in trouble. But then they got to also be leaders. I think that's one of the big things. Like, they're looking for leadership, those alphas, guys who, other players gravitate towards. And I think Braden Willis is one of those guys. When the Niners drafted him, you had to have seen the clip, Beto, but Braden Willis is looking in the camera saying, he's in tears, saying, 31 teams gonna pay. 31 teams gonna pay. and I believe him. Man, this guy's got a chip on his shoulder. He already plays his tail off every snap. And Braden Willis, that's my dog.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you my guy in a minute. I'm with you. I like him from Oklahoma. His tight end coach played for the Niners in 2008, 2009. Now he's a tight end coach over there in Oklahoma. So he spoke highly. He's a yak guy. I think he led in college separation or yards after the catch. I forgot the proper word, but he led the league in college, and so this kid can separate. He can drop you, and he can, you give him a 10 yards, and he can make it into 40 yards. And now you have Deebo Samuel, you have Christian McCaffrey, you have Brendan Ayuk, you have Kittle, and then you add Willis, and and then you put Big Latu as a blocker, big body tight end that can block. Maybe he helps McKivitz a little bit on certain pass rushers that might be on his side. Who knows? But the guy that I'm fired up for is, I call him the Greenlaw mini-me, or the Greenlaw twin, is the kid from TCU. His name is flipping my head right.
Winters,
yes. Yeah. This kid is silent to sideline. This kid, I watched his game. I watched his film, and this kid excites me a lot. I like Graham from Purdue too. It's funny. You got this kid from TCU that kind of look like Greenlaw. You got the kid from Purdue, Graham, that looks a lot like, the size-wise, body built like Fred Warner. And it's like, I love the way they're bringing these guys in to compete. But this guy Winters, man, a lot of the plays that I saw, it looked like they were using him in blitzes, and they were not blitzes. He was just breaking right through oh my God, he fired me up. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're on the same page there. It's his acceleration, Beto.
Yes, there you go.
He sees, as soon as the quarterback hands that ball to the running back, D. Winters accelerates through the hole. He's making these tackles for losses. Like, his acceleration is off the charts. Like, his ability just to turn it on and go, it was big time. That was the first thing I wrote down watching this tape. He's a fast linebacker with crazy acceleration. He had 14 and a half tackles for loss last year. Like, that's insane. 7.5 sacks. So, and I know we're going to talk a little Wilkes, and about his presser and about maybe blitzing a little more. Well, a guy like D. Winters flying off the edge, blitzing, like, that's going to be an ideal role for him. I agree. I really like D. Winters. The only thing he's got to clean up is he misses some tackles, and that might be, being a little bit smaller and flying around so fast. You got shorter arms. Maybe you can't grab. But overall, where the Niners got him in the draft late, I thought it was a great pick, and I agree with you. I'm excited about the D. Winters pick.
Absolutely, David Villa, welcome, bro. My boy David, I like this guy. This guy's amazing. Real quick, guys.
For more awesome content, like and subscribe now.
Make sure to do that to both of our channels. Follow my boy. Do you break down film on your channel?
Some definitely, yeah. If you wanted to see Trey Lance, if you're like, hey man, Trey Lance ain't played in a while, I got some videos out like on every Trey Lance throw, every throw he's made versus the Texans, versus the Cardinals. Like, I compiled it. They're compiled into like 5 or 6 minute videos. So if anyone's like, hey, you know what, I want to get that reminder of what Trey Lance has got, you can find that on my page. Like, I mix it up, Beto. We got some film, we got some live shows that I mix in, bring in some guests, but really kind of my philosophy is, we love to talk about the Niners, but it all comes back to what's going down on the field, right? So I do like to bring out some film and do some little breakdowns, and definitely, yeah, I got some film on my channel.
Awesome. And his link is in the description below. All you got to do is go to the description, click on his link. It takes us directly to his YouTube channel. Make sure to follow him and support him, and get, for those that want to know a little bit more of what's going on He brings great content, man. So make sure to follow him. All right, let's talk about our boy, the new addition this year, defensive coordinator, Steve Wilks. He spoke highly on Drake Jackson and Javon Kinlaw. But before we speak about Drake Jackson and Kinlaw, I want to get your thoughts on Steve Wilks as a person. Have you been following him? Are you familiar with him? What does he bring to this already stacked defense with adding Hargrave to the group? What does he bring to this defense that you're really excited about?
Just the players that have played for him all speak highly of him, right? This guy, he's a leader of men, and he was a head coach in our division. He coached the Cardinals. I don't think that lasted maybe just like a couple years.
Yes,
but
like 2 years,
he's got some head coaching experience. We saw him in Carolina. Like, there was a lot of players advocating that, Steve Wilks was the interim coach after what's his name got fired. Wilks stepped in.
Oh yeah, I can't for the Panthers.
Former college guy. I'm blanking on him, but he wasn't any good. He wasn't.
Yeah, he's not even.
But Steve Wilks, what you're gonna get is he's a predominantly, at least his reputation, Beto, is he's a zone guy.
Yes.
Predominantly. In this league, in the NFL, you got to mix it up. You can't play one scheme defensively. No, you got to throw multiple looks at these professional quarterbacks and these offensive gurus designing these plays. But predominantly, he's a zone guy, similar to Saleh and D'Amico. I felt like, kind of that they all mix it up, cover 3, cover 4. But Steve Wilks, I think he's going to play kind of that zone-style philosophy. Now, where he might differ in some ways, I think he's going to bring a little more heat, Beto. Now, D'Amico was very strategic with his blitzing. Like, it was key situations, almost like when he felt like the offense had dialed up maybe like a longer developing pass play. I think that's when D'Amico would send the dogs. But he wouldn't send them a ton. I think with Steve Wilks, he's going to be more aggressive, blitzing these linebackers, right? Greenlaw, he's really fast. Fred Warner, that guy can just do it all. I mean, yep. Fred Warner, he's the best linebacker in football because he doesn't have a weakness. Like, he covers like a safety. There's no linebacker in the game dropping into zone coverage. When Fred drops into zone coverage, he's looking around. He knows what offensive players are in his area. He's jumping routes. And then not only that, he's phenomenal in the run game and as a blitzer. I mean, Fred Warner can just do it all. So I'm excited to see how Steve Wilks is going to utilize these athletic linebackers and safeties. Talanoa Hufanga, what I love about Talanoa, Beto, is like we see him time up these snaps, right? It's like he has this innate ability to get into the backfield and time up the snap so he's getting a good rush and making these tackles for losses. And to be honest, the rookie the Niners took in the 3rd round, pick 87, Jair Brown, I see a lot of similarities between Jair Brown and Talanoa Hufanga. Yep. They're both super instinctive, and they just got a great feel for it. So it's like, who's the free safety? Who's the strong safety? I forget about that. They're both safeties. Those two, in my opinion, are interchangeable.
Yes.
Like, you can put either one back. You could put either one in the box.
Yep.
So I think the versatility that those two safeties bring, the linebackers, I think Steve Wilks is really – he's licking his lips. He's salivating at the thought of how he can utilize all this talent on defense.
I think it's the most talent that he's probably had in a long time. On a defense,
definitely
with these guys,
100%.
And if I'm mad, the people are like, we got a great front. I mean, we have Nate Bosa. We know the damage this kid can do. You add Hargrave into that where he can push the pocket. 66 pressures from the inside. That is unheard of to have that many pressures from the inside from Hargrave. Then we all know that if Eric Armstead is not, if he plays single and he's not being double covered, he's just one man coming out, he can beat that man and get to the quarterback. He pushes. I think Armstead is so underrated. People are like, well, he don't have the sacks, but they don't see the chaos that he causes in that pocket. Now you add Hargrave, and if, God forbid, Drake Jackson, that we're going to talk in a minute, comes out in year 2 and does his thing, the pressure is going to be stat in the front. Let's go back a little bit of memory lane to 2019. Remember that Packers game? I don't think it was the playoffs. I think it was the regular first game where we weren't blitzing. We were just sending the front four with DeForest Buckner and the rookie Bosa, and we were putting the pressure there. And there was a moment where Robert Saleh decided to blitz where Roger wasn't expecting. Roger got hit, fumbled the ball. Bosa recovers, almost gets it in, and then the next play, Coleman got the touchdown. But my point being is, when you put pressure with the front four, and you're getting to the quarterback, and then you decide to blitz, it's just going to be overwhelming for a lot of quarterbacks. And one thing I do like about Wilkes is he will play man as well. He has the personnel to play man. And what I like about man is the quarterback is going to have to hold the ball longer in man than they do in zone. And if they hold the ball longer, these guys are going to front. They're going to eat. There's no way you're going to. I mean, Bosa already, he had 18 sacks last year. And he was the main guy, right? He was the double team and everything. Now that he has Hargrave next to him, it takes me back to 2019 with DeForest Buckner. And then Eric Armstead had his best season, if I'm not mistaken, that year with 10 sacks because he wasn't being double covered. He was single man, and he can take advantage of that. So I'm excited. Then you have the greatest, and I'm fired up. I'm sorry, I get goosebumps still. The greatest double linebackers in the NFL with Greenlaw and Fred Warner. I mean, these guys are a beast in there. So the front seven is amazing. And now you're fixing the secondary. I love what Ward did. I love the addition of Ward. I love Demo has stepped up. I don't know about Thomas. We'll talk about that a little bit later if we have time. But I like Dino. He stepped up. But the kid that they brought, and I'll bring it back to Wilkes. I just get excited. Isaiah Oliver from Atlanta. If you watch any tape, he wasn't good on the outside. He struggled. But once the Atlanta decided to move him to the inside, this kid flourished in the inside as a slot corner. And Steve Wilkes said himself, right? He believes that the Niners brought in the greatest slot corner in this year's free agents in Oliver. So we'll talk about him a little bit later. I just wanted to throw him in there. But give me your thoughts on Drake Jackson. What do you think about him? Yeah. And then also let me know your thoughts on Javon Kinlaw. I know a lot of people don't like because of his issues. I think the fact that he's not going to be able to be depended on, when he's just going to be a rotational player, he's going to be able to stay healthy, fresh. And I think this is going to benefit him instead of being that person that you have to depend on 3 downs. But I want to get your thoughts on that, a baller.
Yeah, I love it. So Drake Jackson, I really liked him coming out of USC. He's got good hands. Like when I'm watching pass rushers, I want the defensive ends with good hands. As soon as that offensive lineman tries to punch you or block you, you're swiping his hands away, getting around him. Drake's got the hands. Now, the one thing I want, and Steve Wilkes, he was talking about it at the press conference. This is what I said at the end of the year. I said, I want Drake Jackson to be that guy who beat reporters and just the media is talking about, like in training camp, as the player who's changed his body. Like I wanted Drake Jackson to live in the weight room, get yoked up, because I thought he had a little extra weight last year. Not that I'm an expert in that field, but I didn't think his body was quite honed in just right. So the fact that Steve Wilkes at the press conference said, look, man, Drake's been working hard. He's getting bigger. Upper body's filling out. that's music to my ears because that's what I wanted to see. I want Drake to have a little more pop. Last year I thought he was kind of a little more finesse, but let's get some more pop in there. And I like his potential. You know, that being said, I've heard the Niners after the CMC restructure have about 10 mil cap space, and I don't know what they plan on using it for, but there's a couple pass rushers out there that I feel like would be really intriguing to add opposite Bosa. Because while I like what we have, I like Drake Jackson, Cleveland Farrell, former top 10 pick. We'll see. There's a guy, Austin Bryant, that the Niners got from the Lions. Didn't play a ton. He's had some injuries, but some of the film I saw, it was intriguing. Like just as a pass rusher, talking about Austin Bryant, because you're looking for these roles. Like Cleveland Farrell, probably more of a rundown guy. Austin Bryant, I wouldn't mind him bringing him in on 3rd and long to get after a quarterback. He's got some good bursts. But yeah, Drake. I mean, right now Drake is the guy penciled in opposite Bosa. So, I got some. I want to be optimistic. Like I like what I saw from Drake, at least coming out of USC. Now, last year he couldn't get on the field last year much, at least not during the latter part of the year, Beto. So, I'm optimistic, but would I like to add a Yannick Ngakoue or a Leonard Floyd? You freaking betcha. But I might be aiming too high. I don't know what the Niners have planned. With that cap space, Bosa is due to get a massive payday. So, I like the potential of Drake Jackson. Now, kind of banking on him to be like that premium edge rusher opposite Bosa, I feel like might be kind of lofty, especially when he couldn't quite get on the field at the end of last year. But I'm optimistic. I like Drake Jackson. I want him to do it. Go out there, pressure the quarterback, get, anywhere 5, 6, 7 sacks this year. I think it'd be great. Now, to flip it over to the inside and Mr. Kinlaw, hey, it's a contract year for him now, Beto. It's a contract year. And a lot of times you can look across the various different sports contract years, players tend to play their best ball.
Yeah.
Like they know if they have a good year, they're getting paid. Well, if they have a bad year and they can't stay on the field, well, guess what? Then you ain't getting paid.
Kiss that bag goodbye.
Javon, it's a free agent year. And like you said, now he gets to take a step back. Like the Niners, they're not relying on him to be the starter, plug and play 3-down D tackle. No. It's like you got Hargrave, you got Armstead. So I'm looking at Kinlaw. I mean, ideally, he's probably more of a run-based down guy. Like I don't know how much I want him in on 3rd and long because I don't think he's that good of a pass rusher. But it's like you'd figure with his size and his strength, what we saw coming out of South Carolina, he shouldn't be getting blown off the ball like he was
in Philly
like he did in Philly. Like he's literally getting pushed 5-10 yards.
He's too big for that, bro. He's too big for that.
Yeah, so he's got to anchor up. And to be honest, I don't have very high expectations for Javon Kinlaw, but that isn't to say that he's a bad player. It's just I don't want to have my expectations so high, Beto, and then be disappointed again. So it's like I got these low expectations for him. That way, if he does have a positive impact, if he's making plays,
you can only go up, right?
And it's like, hey, man, he outperformed my expectations, man. Kinlaw's having a positive impact. Then I can talk about him in this positive light. Whereas if I'm thinking, oh, man, he's a top 12 pick in the draft, like we traded Buckner for this dude, then you're setting yourself up to fail. You're just setting yourself up to be upset with him.
Absolutely. And you made something that I really want to touch on real quick. The Niners did have like 10 million available if they need to use it. And remember, they're going to pay Bosa, but they're also going to be able to get a little bit more free money towards the cap once they restructure Bosa's contract. I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, bro, is they're going to go into OTAs training camp. They're going to see what they have in Austin Bryant and Cleveland Farrell and Robert Beal, who they drafted out of Georgia, the Bulldog. They're going to see what they have in Jackson, and they're going to kind of get a feel of where they're at. And I think if they're comfortable where they're at and they feel like they can go into the season with that, I think they'll sit back and kind of use that money as a reserve. You never know in the middle of the season. A lot of towards the middle of the season, towards the end, a lot of teams do a fire sales. They get rid of players. They're not, and you have the ability to bring somebody in if you need to, especially if we have injuries. But if they're not happy with the performance of these guys and they don't see any of those guys as a week one starter opposite of Bosa, I think that's when they go in and make the call and bring in the kid. I can never pronounce his name. That's why I don't know if I want him from Houston. How do you pronounce it? Unakwe or? Can't hear you. You mute it.
My bad.
No problem.
Yannick Ngakoue.
That
Yeah,
one,
he's a premier pass rusher. Like, I don't really want him in on too many run-based downs, but hey, 3rd and long, 2nd and long,
He's
want
only
Yannick
25,
Ngakoue
right?
in there. I mean, the guy, Beto, he gets at least like 8 sacks every year of his career. Like, he's just ultra productive. The array of pass rush moves that Yannick has is impressive. And I mean, that would probably be, if John Lynch called me up and said, Baller, man, what do you think about these free agent pass rushers? Who should we go after? I'm saying, dude, get Yannick Ngakoue, man. He's that speed rusher, because that's the one thing I think that they're kind of missing. Austin Bryant, I think, can bring some of that, but I'm looking for that speed rusher off the edge. Like, I like what Drake has.
was.
Exactly. That's why they brought in D Ford, to be that Leo. It's called a Leo position edge rusher, someone who's going to bend that corner, make the quarterback step up in the pocket. Who's he stepping up into? He's stepping up into Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead.
Yeah, two guys you don't want to step up into.
So I'm looking for that speed rusher as that element, and that's exactly what Yannick brings to the table.
I love it. Okay, as I know that I had another couple of topics. I just want to, as we come to a close, we've been hitting an hour, and I got to bring you back later on, bro. You're awesome. But let's get to know you a little bit. I mentioned that to you earlier before we went live in the backstage. I want those that are not familiar with you. How long have you been a Niner fan, and who had the honor to introduce you to the Red and Gold, the team you love today?
Yeah, Beto, that's a great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me this. The easy answer is geographical location, right? I grew up in the Bay Area,
okay.
South City. What's up? Now I'm out. Now I moved out to the East Bay a couple years ago, but I'm in the Bay. So the easy answer is geographical location. But I got to shout out my grandpa. I called him Papa, and he was a diehard Niner fan. Like, reading the Sporting Green every day, like, Montana posters on the wall. So Grandpa, aka Papa, he was definitely an influence on me. But also I would say just like my friends growing up in the Bay Area, like, me and my buddies watching these Niner games together. Like, hey, Jeff Garcia was my guy. Like, when I was growing up watching Niners, Jeff Garcia was our QB. Like, I thought Jeff was legit. And then, then we had the downturn where it was like Tim Rattay, Troy Smith, like Cody Pickett. There was that era where it was like, it was rough. But what I will say is, Beto, we've experienced some heartbreak recently, right? And I'll tell you what, I'm going to just quickly, I'm not going to talk about the Warriors too much, but I'm going to quickly just compare it to the Warriors, because the Warriors sucked growing up when I was a kid. They were awful. And you had to struggle through these terrible teams and the heartbreaks. But when
this is why I became a Warrior fan. I mean, I became a Lakers fan because I couldn't root for the Warriors. People ask me.
It was tough. It was tough. But what made it, sticking through the difficult times, Beto, is what made it so sweet when they did win.
Yeah.
Because it's like you dealt with all that turmoil. And I feel like that's what I've been going with the Niners now. Like, don't get me wrong, Niners have had a lot of success, but they haven't gotten over that hump, right? I haven't been able to celebrate that.
It's been 28
that
years.
Parade. I want to. Hey, I went to a Giants parade, Warriors parade. I haven't been able to go to a Niners parade, so I'm hungry. And I know a lot of Niners fans that are my age or a little bit younger, they're feeling the same thing. Like, hey, Niners, we know about what happened in the 80s. Okay,
Yes,
we know, it was a dynasty in the 80s. They won the chips. What about right now? Like, we're
I
hungry
hear
for
you.
some wins. We're hungry. So, but getting back to the question, I gotta shout out my grandpa.
All right, Grandpa, I love it. Yeah, because the Raiders were right there. They're an East Bay team at the time. They had moved to LA, and they originally from Oakland, moved to LA, and they came back to Oakland. And for your grandpa to introduce you to the Niners, aren't you glad that it was the Niners and not the Raiders that he introduced you to?
Damn straight. Yeah, absolutely, Beto.
Yeah, bro. So another quick question to get to know you: what was your very first game you seen live?
The first game I seen live, it was at Candlestick. It was Alex Smith's first ever preseason game.
Boy, you're making me feel old, bro.
My buddy Alex Smith. Well,
I hear you
when you're
though.
a kid, you can only go to games that, like, I mean, my parents didn't go to a lot of football games, so I can't be
Mm.
9 years old going to Candlestick by myself. I mean, I wish I could, but
Yeah, I hear you.
so my buddy, shout out my boy D Hack. I'll never forget it. Him and his dad picked me up. And Alex Smith was just drafted. This is supposed to be our new franchise quarterback, and we were excited to see him play. He probably only played like a quarter, but out my first taste of it. And you know what, Beto? Interestingly enough, it was against the Raiders. It was against. Remember how the Niners used to always play the Raiders in the preseason,
Yes.
and there was it was rowdy at camp. Even though there was a preseason game, I remember kind of sitting there and you're looking around, and I saw a couple different fights going on, and it's like, well, this is what goes on at football games. But yeah. So my first game, Alex Smith debut.
Wow, that's all right. So 2005, getting drafted. I still remember that draft. You had Aaron Rodgers, you had Alex Smith, who the Niners taking, and we all know what history. Now, truth be told, I don't know. Aaron still would have been better than Alex Smith, period. But I don't know if Aaron would have been Aaron Rodgers would have been that successful with that offensive line we had back then. We could not protect nobody, and then Alex Smith went through 5 different coordinators. His first 5 years, every year a coordinator changed. So it was tough on Alex, man. It really was. I think if Alex would have sat behind Brett Favre for 4 years under, and I think he would have had a better success rate than coming to the Niners. I mean, there's a reason why you're picking number 1 overall, because you pretty much stink at playing football, right? Unless you have a lot of injured players. But so your first game was Alex Smith watching. Now, what is your favorite game of all time?
Wow, my favorite in the game I've attended, or
No, just watch anything. Just your favorite 49er game ever since you've been
I'm
alive.
gonna say it was Niners Saints, and I believe it was at Candlestick, and it was the game where Dante Hittner laid a big
the
hit
wood.
on Pierre Thomas, the running back, knocked him out cold on the field. Right, there was a fumble on the play. That game sticks out to me because I remember I was watching it at my boy Jay Freight's house, and we, all my buddies were there, and it was a playoff game. The atmosphere was tight. I'm hanging out with my buddies. Like that game sticks out to me. I just remember when Hittner put that hit on Pierre Thomas and that ball came loose. Like, dude, we were yelling our heads off. So that was a good one. I mean, there's been
That was a good game, bro. I was there at Candlestick. That's when 4 score changes in the fourth quarter. That was crazy.
That game was wild.
4 lead changes in the fourth quarter, bro. And then they call, what do they call? I think they call it the third catch, or the catch three, with Vernon Davis catching the ball to win the game. Was so sweet, right in front of I forgot the name of the Saints player, but their safety right in front of him, and just broke in. And I know it was Dwight Clark, and then it was Terrell Owens with the catch too, when Steve Young went back, almost tripped, and then got it to them against Green Bay. And Owens, yeah. And then, because that game, I was there as well. He couldn't catch, the sun was in his eyes, blaming whatever. He couldn't catch a cold if he wanted to that day. And that
he caught the one that mattered.
Yes. Kind of reminds me of in the Super Bowl with John Taylor. Jerry Rice had like 212 yards. He had it, and Taylor only had one catch, but it was the one that mattered, the Super Bowl win. So sometimes, you know what? It depends on the catch, bro. So, man, I can talk forever 49er football. But I appreciate you, Eric, for coming on. Finally, we got this to happen. I love your IQ in football. We definitely got to shop it up during the season and break a little film and talk a little. I love talking formations. I like talking schemes. I love talking like that. And we can break it down when the season starts. If you're available, I know you're a very popular and busy man, but I look forward in hooking up with you possibly for an hour during the season, man. I think it'll be fun.
Hey, no doubt. Not possibly. It's absolutely.
Oh, so, I appreciate Beto, that.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. You know, I've been watching you from a distance. Not even from a distance. You know, you pop into my chat. I've popped in there. I see you going live with all these various content creators. We're blessed in the Niners community. We got so much good content all over. So I've kept my tabs on you. I've been a fan of yours. And Beto, you keep up the good work. I mean, your graphics are phenomenal. I mean, that flag behind you, it must be windy because it has not stopped waving this whole time. I mean, it's awesome. I had a great time, and hey, there's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about here. You know, as soon as training camp starts kicking off, OTAs get rolling. Yeah, we'll link up and we'll talk some more ball.
You know, I can always hit you with a Laker one right there.
Ooh.
I'll go back to the Niner. I appreciate it, bro. You know, real quick before we call it a night, I'm the type of guy that, you know, a lot of people, listen, I love all content creators. I know some people don't like some people, whatever, but I love them all. I'm a big boy. I'm always using food as an analogy. It looks like walking into a buffet and getting to choose what you want to eat. And whatever you don't want to eat, you toss it to the side. I watch Grant Cohn. I'll watch David Lombardi. I'll watch you guys. And then I'll take what I like and what I don't. I move on. I don't talk about nobody. What I do isn't, I don't have that many followers, but it's not about followers for me. Those that are working and grinding and getting those followers and getting paid for it, and more power to you. You guys deserve it. I love to chop it up. I consider my my podcast when I go live like going to the barbershop. You go to the barbershop, you're waiting your turn to get onto the chair. You're yapping it with the guys. You're familiar with everybody there. You're talking about the game. You just kind of chillax and just talking. I'm not, when we, if let's say we do go after a defensive end, right? I'm not the guy that's going to be posting it everywhere. Look what we picked up. And those that do it, great. I love it. I like to see that. But I'm too lazy, bro. I'm retired. I'm already retired, so I definitely have the time. But I'm too lazy to be posting right after we picked up this person. We picked up that person. I'm like, nah. I'm the guy that likes to look at who we picked up from somebody else. I just like to go on my life, bro, and kind of chillax, have my drink, and just talk football. And this is what I do, and this is why I'm always promoting every content creator. I love everybody. I know some people, I don't like Grant. Oh, I don't like this person. I'm like, there's reasons. They have valid reasons, but I am never one to put somebody down just because I don't like certain things they talk about. I just don't agree. Larry Kruger, I feel bad for him because he's been talking a lot about Brock Purdy and people have been hating on him because he's anti Trey Lance. That's not true. You know him better. I don't even know him. You definitely know him. You know he's not anti-Trey. You know he loves Trey. He wanted Trey. But he's talking facts when he talks about Brock Purdy, right? I don't understand the hate that goes on against people on Twitter. Why can't you like one quarterback and not hate the other? I don't understand that. It's just blows my mind. I don't engage on Twitter. I'm too old fashioned. I don't want to go to prison I can't handle keyboard warriors, bro. I can't do it. I save it for in person. You know what I mean? I'll kick your I'm like, really? You know what I mean? You know what I do when people want to fight me, bro?
Much,
you know what I do? I do this, bro.
Hey, don't talk to me. You don't know how I'm in my feminine self. I will slap you right and left. I pull that.
I pull that stuff out, bro, and they see this tattooed Mexican. I'll get, and they don't know how to act when we're live or in person. They don't know how to. I remember one guy bumped me at a game, and he's like, "Watch where you're going," and I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And he just kept on walking, bro. People were cracking up. There's no need to fight. Just because I got bumped in the shoulder, man, no big deal. You know what I mean? If somebody gets bumped or somebody looks at the wrong way. In my 20s, bro, I've been locked up for fighting. Now that I'm in my 50s, I just like to chillax, bro. So this is what I do in my life. It's just barbershop talk. So you're welcome to come in the comments or say anytime, brother. I have nothing but respect for you, my friends. So thank you for stopping with me and giving me this afternoon, bro. You enjoy your weekend. Be blessed. And I will continue to support you on your channel. And man, I am bad with names. Your other channel on Mondays.
Yeah, straight out of the Bay.
Straight out of the Bay. Good. One of these days I'm gonna get it. I'm always messing up Rich's name. How do you pronounce Rich's name? Celts? Celts. Okay.
Yeah.
He says I say it wrong. Celts, right?
Celts.
Yeah. Okay. I love Rich. Rich is so animated, bro. You don't know what you're gonna get with Rich until you start talking to him. But I love him. He's my boy. All right, brother. Everyone watching in the comments, have a wonderful night. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure to go support my boy. The links is in the description below. Go and follow him and do your thing. Until next time, let's chit chat on the barber seat. Next time, later. Peace.